Did you do it again?
I did.
Did you really?
I didn't. It wasn't even turned on.
Oh, shit, Lon. Oh, boy, we're pros today.
There are great cosmic forces.
How many hours are we
How much opposition are we getting? No, the gods, the demons don't want us to talk about Bartzabel and the rite of the evocation of the spirit of Mars.
Crowley's invocation.
Yes.
You've forgotten everything you said before.
This
is his third or fourth try. I don't know.
This is the third or fourth try. But I'm here with, no, I'm not going to say sidekick. I'm here with my comrade.
Thank you.
My comrade of now probably 60 years.
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, hello, dear. I'm going to successfully turn it around. There we go.
And we're in our flannels today. Yeah, we're waiting for rain to come next week. Lon said 40 days and 40 nights, but it's very nice today. I always vow after I'm through doing this, I'm not going to do it again. And then I'm just talk about my week. We watched, we like to watch Colbert, a comedian. But I like the artistry. Sometimes his meanwhile jokes are very clever, and he used to be years ago try to do more political jokes, but now they're just kind of he's really probably center right, trying to do center left jokes with the restrictions of the CBS network telling him he can't do things.
CBS got to him, I think.
I don't know, or he got a raise, and they probably who knows what, or he doesn't want to. He's afraid of the Democrats losing the election. I don't know. He's not very truthful anymore in his jokes, and they're not very funny. I mean, according to me, who has the weirdest sense of humor, I laugh at Lon's jokes. So don't, right there, you should just be worried about what I'm saying. But anyway, we watched.
When was the last time I did something funny?
And we watched we don't watch the Super Bowl because, we're PBS people, kind of. We don't do football. Baseball, yes, but Super Bowl, I kind of go with the brain damage jokes on that thing. But, if that's what you like, and because you remember doing it with your parents or something, and it's kind of gotten beyond that level. It seemed really spooky in other alternative universe, and not in a particularly good way. But that's because I'm older, and old people always tend to talk that way about what's happened to everything.
Back in our day, we had to take drugs to gain enlightenment. Now they got AI.
Okay. But anyway, old people get crabby, and there were people with dementia in the old days, just fewer of them. I think they ingested less chemicals and had less stress. There were people, and there were old people who were just crabby and trying to shoot people, get off my lawn. But I think the two presidential candidates in particular are giving old people a bad name, and there's a lot of wasted potential. People used to call old people, for the last few generations, everybody makes fun of their old people, at their Thanksgiving dinner and stuff. But before people were totally demented, a lot of that old people talk was actual wisdom. Lots of cultures value their old people, and I'm concerned that the two presidential parties are giving old people a bad name, because there are a few people who still have their brains left, even though they rattle on things like this. Anyway, and so I just would like. We watched Jon Stewart last night, his first show. I don't know how his second show is going to be, but his first show, there wasn't one misword. Everything was funny, and
it was like going to church.
It was more truthful. If you're going to make jokes about current events, at least have truthful, important current events. And it was, I totally recommend his first show. Like I said, I don't know what his other shows are going to be like. We were lucky to get that one, and it cheered us up, actually, which is strange. But it seemed like I just got disheartened by watching the Colbert and thinking about, are we all on a level of total untruth and unreality? Have we slipped? I mean, we can't talk about anything important because people seem partisan, or we don't want to know what's important because it's too stressful to know, or I don't know. So I don't want to preach about it because I'm not qualified, and you're all. Anyway, I wrote something at the beginning of the week that I trust you all in the coming week will find 15 minutes, however, to be inspired. If it means reading something or meditating or taking a walk, to be inspired. And by that inspiration, be protected and aided in your own personal great work to find truth and to unite with the universal purpose. Because that's all we're all kind of trying to do. So.
And that's the name of your new painting, isn't it? What is it?
Unite with the universal purpose.
Unite with the universal purpose.
But never mind about my new painting. Anyway, I trust you're all grown up more than me, and more qualified to do that. I have nothing to say how to do that or whatever. But if I did, I'm working on my own ways. But
okay.
Anyway, I'm a bit disheartened about the level of total unreality in our surroundings.
Yes, and especially when there is Holocaust-worthy genocide
in not just
going
one place
on,
in the world,
and now we know
in multiple places in the
elections
world.
in Indonesia. And,
yeah, not to be gruesome, but the whole environment's falling apart, and nobody's paying attention to that either, because it's kind of, greed and money and power have kind of taken over, and it should be, you have the power, now get the wisdom and the understanding, and which is love, and those three things together will be, but just power with no wisdom and no understanding or love is just gonna, just turn to greed and levels of unreality that I don't want to deal with, but have to.
well,
I love you all.
that's perfect for shopping.
Yes, I'm going out there into the. No, it's vegetables have more of a reality than what I saw on TV last.
They make good company.
Sometimes better. Okay, I'm finished.
Okay, thank you, dear, for those words of wisdom.
Awesome. Are you turning the camera around now?
I am. I'm trying to turn the camera around. There I am. Okay. Well, let's see if I can get it set up without touching the finish button. There's my steering wheel. I'd like to show you my steering wheel. Allow me to reveal my steering wheel. Okay.
With that, I'm leaving.
Okay, I was perusing after watching our morning Democracy Now! That we always watch when we have our morning tea. And I was reading from The Vision and the Voice here, okay, with commentaries. But I'm not, that's Enochian stuff. But there's other things in this book, including the Bartzabel working. Okay, I'm sure you're seeing this backwards. And first of all, it's an evocation ceremony that Crowley was cool enough to actually write down so he could share with future magicians not only a classic format for the evocation of a planetary spirit, but also a glimpse of an important moment in magical history. Shortly after, this is in 1910, only 6 years after the reception of the the Book of the Law. Crowley was forming the AA, and he was friends of Commander Marston of the Royal Navy, and who was a student of Crowley's and an AA student. And this is the time when Crowley and Layla were a number, a Kabbalistic number, and it was a golden, flashy moment in Thelemic history. And I'm going to read you what Crowley said about it from the Confessions, and then actually I'm going to share the entire ritual with you. And it's not real long, but it's long enough where I'm going to I'm going to split it up into 2 sections. Okay, we'll continue the rest tomorrow. But as Tuesday is Mars Day, and we always think of Mars in terms of war and blood and guts and things like that, but Mars is more than that. Okay, much more than that. Mars and Venus were a number 2. Not a number 2, but a number also. Okay. Here's what it says, and this is mostly taken from the Crowley's Confessions. The Bartzabel working, 1910, EV. In the spring of 1910, on May 9th, an evocation of Bartzabel, the spirit of Mars, was made so successfully as to demand description. My assistants were Commander Marston, Royal Navy, one of the highest officials of the Admiralty, and Layla Waddell, an Australian violinist whom I had just met, and who appealed to my imagination. And I'm going to read you the footnote because it's a historical context. G.M. Marston, whose motto was all for knowledge, was a probationer, 0 of AA. Crowley dedicated the poem Ave Adonai in The Winged Beetle, 1910, to him. Layla Waddell, 1880 to 1932. Soror Agatha, which is Greek, or she interpreted as good, brave, virtuous. I love it. Soror Agatha was an AA member who attained to Philosophus 4=7 and the 9th degree OTO, becoming its Grand Secretary General. Okay, Crowley wrote, well, I'll continue on. In a manuscript note to the rites of Eleusis, that idea also had its genesis in the living room of Commander Marston, the rites of Eleusis. Crowley wrote, quote, Marston and I started with the evocation of Bartzabel, suggested by a talk while I was staying with him at his house, Rempstone, Dorset. The idea of general rites developed during this summer from the casual rituals adopted during the mescaline experiment, when Layla Waddell and I played and read poetry against each other before the Lord. We got such wonderful spiritual results that we try to reduce it all to a rule. Hence, the rite of Artemis that they did at the Equinox office and invited the public, and then that evolved into the rites of Eleusis. Back to the evocation. In the triangle was Frater Omnia Vincam, which is Victor Newberg, to serve as material basis. In other words, there was more than just a talisman or a sigil in the triangle. They evoked the spirit into the triangle, and a person was sitting in the triangle too. That way you could talk to them. The person had to be a pretty good sport, or very confident in the magicians around him. Okay, in the triangle was Frater Omnia Vincam, to serve as material basis through which the spirit would manifest. Here was a startling innovation in tradition, I should say. I wrote, moreover, a ritual on entirely new principles. I retained the Kabbalistic names and formula, so it's a perfect formula of this type of work, but wrote most of the invocation in poetry. The idea was to work up the magical enthusiasm through the exaltation of the exhilaration induced by music. And when he says music, he's including poetry in that term. Plus, Layla was there, a concert violin virtuoso. I obtained a great deal of valuable knowledge from the spirit. The most interesting item was this. Marston, remembering his official duty, because he's an admiral or a commander in the Navy, asked, "Will nation rise up against nation?" Followed by more detailed inquiries on receiving an affirmative answer. We thus learned that within 5 years from that date, this 1910, there would be 2 wars. The storm center of the first would be Turkey, and that of the second would be Germany. And the result would be the destruction of these 2 nations. I only remembered this after reaching New York at the end of 1914. Luckily, I had the ritual with question and answer written down at the time. An account of these predictions, precisely fulfilled, appeared in the New York World. That's a newspaper. Okay. Liber 325, the Bartzabel working. An evocation of Bartzabel, the spirit of Mars. The formulae of the magic of light. Let them be puissant in the evocation of the spirit Bartzabel. That's all sort of an ornate title there. Prologue. The ceremony consists of 5 parts. Why 5? Because 5 is the sphere of Mars on the tree of life, Kibor. So far, this format is pretty stock. The ceremony consists of 5 parts. The banishing and consecrations, the special preparation of the material basis, Victor in the triangle, the particular invocations of the forces of Mars. Number 4, dealings with Bartzabel, that mighty spirit. And part 5, the closing. Glory to the Most High God, Rahor Kuit, in the name Abrahadabra, and in this sign of the pentagram. Okay, I'm going to show you the circle there. It's very cool. It's generally a understandable thing. You got a pentagon there, and in the pentagon you've got the sort of classic Tau cross floor cloth, and you'll see in one of the center squares it's sort of there's sort of a grid pattern on where Tifereth should be, I believe, and that's the altar. That's the altar, and upon that altar there'll be goodies, and we'll show those. The circle has an inscribed pentagon, like Lon said, and a Tau within that. Without are 5 pentagrams with 5 ruby lamps. There is an altar with the square of Mars and the seal of Mars. Okay, let's see. It says drawing of the top altar with the square or chimea of Mars thereupon, showing the disposition of the magical weapons. Okay, that's the next thing I'll show you. The triangle has the name Primumaton, Anaphoxeton, and Anapheniton, and Michael within. Also the sigil of Bartzabel and his name. About the circle is the name Elohim. The chief magus, CM, okay, that'll be Crowley. And if I can think about it as I'm reading through it, I'll just identify him as Crowley, as chief magus. Wears the robe of Adeptus Minor with the Uraeus serpent and Nemes. He bears the lamen of the Hyraeus, Golden Dawn, and the first talisman of Mars. He bears as weapons the spear and the sword, also the bell. The assistant magus, and that'll be Marston, wears the robe of a probationer and a nemes of white and gold. He attends to the fumigations of the art. He senses the temple. And he bears the third talisman of Mars and the consecrated torch. Okay, and there is a collection of the sigils and stuff. That one right there, which I've blown it up. Right there. That's the sigil. It's reversed here because my camera is reversing things, but that's Bartzabel's sigil. All right. And here is that altar top. Now, it's a chimea of Mars, 5 by 5, okay? But you see a bunch of letters on there, too, because the magical weapons and doodads and stuff, magical tchotchkes of Mars are placed in those positions, which are lettered A, B, C, D, E, F, G, etc. And here's what they are. A is the image of Isis. B, the image of Rahur-Kuit. C, the image of Chem. D, holy oil. E, bell. F, burin. G, the censer. H, the cup. I, the lamen. J, the cord. K, the spear. L, the sword. And M is the torch, which is not in the diagram. That's a pretty crowded little altar there. The magus adjuvant, which is Layla, or magus number 3, is robed as her brother, but wears the 5th talisman of Mars. She attends to the lustrations, or the sprinkling and purification, and she bears the book and pen. Upon the altar is the image of Ra-Hoor-Khuit, Isis in the east, his mother, Kem in the west, facing him. In the south is the censer, in the north the cup. The material basis, or Victor Newberg, is masked and robed in red. On the altar are also the rope, the burin, the oil, the lamp of Mars for the material basis to wear. And the lamps are all lit. So you remember we got those 5 lamps around the circle. Part 1, Banishings and Consecrations. Crowley's at the altar, kneeling in humility. Marston with the sword of the chief magus, or he's holding Crowley's sword for him. And Layla is in the other chamber with Newberg, the material basis. Crowley knocks. The second magus, or Marston, performs the banishing rituals of the pentagram and hexagram around the whole room and replaces the sword on the altar. Meanwhile, Layla is washing Newberg with pure water, and she's saying in Latin, purge him with hyssop, O Lord, and he shall be clean. Thou shalt wash him, and he shall be whiter than the snow. Then she puts a mask on him, with a mask and robe of Mars. And then as she does that, she says, by the figurative mystery of these holy vestures of concealment, doth the Lord cloak thee in the shroud of mystery, in the strength of the Most High Ancor, Amacor, Amides, Theodonius, and Anitor, that our desired end may be effected through thy strength. Adonai, unto whom be the glory in secular seculorum. Amen. Now these are all just modulars, straight Golden Donny, Francis Barrety kind of traditional sections of ritual. Not any overtly thelemic things going on yet, anyway. So she leads Victor to his place in the triangle. Crowley now rises from his knees and takes the spear from the altar. Layla goes to her station. Now it gets good. Crowley's got the spear. Victor's all dressed up, masked, and sitting in the triangle. Crowley grabs the spear. And now it gets thelemic. Hail unto thee, Ra-Hoor-Khuit, who art Lord of the Aeon. Be this consecrated spear a thing of cheer, a thing of fear. Cheer me, who wield it. My heart its vigor shield it. Fear to them who face it. Their force let fear disgrace it. Be a ray from the Most High, a glance of his unsleeping eye. Arm me in the fray that shall be fought this dreadful day. Kind of the song begins. He hands the spear to Marston to hold. Crowley takes the sword. Hail unto thee, Ra-Hoor-Khuit, who art the Lord of the Aeon. Be this consecrated sword not abhorred before the Lord, a guard of steel, a tongue of flame, writing in adamant his name, puissant against the host of evil, a mighty fence against the devil, a snake of lightning to destroy them that work mischief and annoy. Arm me in the fray that shall be fought this dreadful day. He hands the sword to the third magus to hold, or to Layla. Crowley raises his hands above the altar. Hail unto thee, Ra-Hoor-Khuit, who art the Lord of the Aeon. Be this consecrated altar, a sign of sure stability. Will and courage never falter, thought dissolve in deity. Let thy smile divinely curving, Isis bless our dark device. Holy hawk, our deed unswerving be thy favored sacrifice. Holy Chem, our vigor nerving, we have paid the priestly price. Hail Ra-Hur, thy ray forth rolling, consecrate the instruments, thine almighty power controlling to the event, the day's event. Army, army in the fray that shall be fought this dreadful day. Crowley takes the spear from Marston and gives him the censer and torch. Sword from Layla and gives her the cup, the book, and the pen as they prepare for part 2, the special preparation of the material basis. And that's where we will end it today, while it's still Mars Day. Anyway, until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other, and if you're interested in the evocation of Bartzabel, if for no other reason than to get an excellent idea of the format of a ceremony of evocation, whether you've got anybody sitting in the triangle like Victor, if you got friends like that, of course, you just put the sigil of the spirit in the triangle and go from there. But anyway, it's very interesting, and I hope you're going to be with me tomorrow. Until then, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love it well.